Each month, we bring you real stories from cleanup heroes, practical recycling tips, and powerful conversations from change makers who are reshaping our world. My name is Dalu Cele, founder of Clean City SA. In this episode, my guest is the retail industry hero who's passionate about sustainability. Matlou Setati is the Executive Food Safety and Sustainability at the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa. Matlou, a warm welcome to Action for Cleanup and Recycling.
Thank you so much, Dalu, for that kind introduction.
No, wonderful. Good to have you here on the show. We know you're very, very busy, so I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, first of all, I just wish to congratulate the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa for a very successful summit in 2025. It was great.
Thank you. And I hear it was your first one. So any feedback is quite amazing. The team are doing an amazing job. Each year, the level, we say we need to go to a new venue, we need to get more exhibitors. You know, we always expect more from the team, and they keep delivering. So I'm just happy that you enjoyed it, and the feedback from the rest of the people that were there, it's quite amazing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
No, I did. I enjoyed the whole program from the beginning right to the end. So by the time I left in the afternoon, I think I bumped into you as we were walking out. I had learned so much of a difference for me coming in, and then so much of a difference when I left. And also engaging with the exhibitors. You know, there's so many players in the industry, so congratulations.
Thank you. And looking forward to 2026.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah.
No, definitely it will be better.
Yeah.
I also received the evaluation that I made sure that I completed and sent it back to you guys. So I am looking forward to 2026 as well.
Yeah.
Another big congratulations, Matlou. It's on the launch of the PRO.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It's quite an amazing story because the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa as an industry association, we were never really in the space of saying we could play a role. We at some point were the facilitator for the rest of the other PROs that were in place to come and get exposure from the member base to say, members, here are the PROs that are available, make a choice in terms of where you need to be belonging. Because we expect all of our members to be compliant. This is a compliance issue. They need to know where to go, so we avail that platform. But through the years, with everything that's happening, there's a lot that needs to be done in South Africa in the space of waste management.
Yes.
So, and also seeing that this could be a bigger risk to the organization and also to the members. We evaluated the member base that we have, as you can imagine, from a barcoding side. We've got a database. We're sitting with close to 9,000 members.
That's quite a lot.
That's a huge database.
Yes.
So this is something that we said we need to be playing a role.
Yes.
We need to be part and parcel of this, as we have continuously supported the sector. Let's continue to do that. And the board was graceful enough to allow us to approach the department, and we registered at the tail end of 2023. It's been a year in. I must tell you, I think when you engage the regulations from an extended producer responsibility perspective, you're just reading a regulation just like any other regulation. But when you are on the ground, you start to do the work. That's the most exciting part, because we had to look at it from the reporting. First, let's just take that. How do the different parties report first on the declarations and the waste that we collect from the various areas? And there's a whole lot that we are picking up, but we've given the feedback to the department to say, clause 1, clause 2, how do we make sense of this practically? So it's been quite an amazing 1 year in finding out how the legislation really works.
No, congratulations. They always say the proof is in the eating. So with the PRO, I did see a lot of familiar organizations that were on the communication that are familiar. with that are also in the space. So I just want to just get back to the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa. If you can just maybe just highlight and just unpack for us, because it's a huge organization. There are so many members involved.
Yeah.
I think we're just saying earlier, it just touches all of our lives every day. If you can just unpack it for us.
And that's part of our mission, because that's exactly what we do every day. When you wake up, we play in the space of the consumer goods. The bedding that you wake up from, the bathroom utensils that you use, and all of that. So the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa is one amazing. I'm just appreciative of being a part of the team and the organization. It's an industry association, and it's got a history in that there were grocery manufacturers, there were, in a sense, retailers, and there were manufacturers. And also there were part and parcel of the barcoding system that existed. We called it EAN in the previous years.
All right.
So they thought we meet each other, but it's like a threefold thing.
Okay.
Why don't we put all of these things together? Because we pay membership here, we pay membership here, and pay membership here.
Yes.
Why are we not consolidating all of this and come together and become one organization?
All right.
So that's
All
how
right.
the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa was formed.
Okay.
And as you can imagine, with each and every item or product, it needs a barcode.
Yes.
So retailers need that for their efficiencies in running their supplies. And also the manufacturers are the brand owners. They need to be identifiable. So it worked seamlessly in that way. So it was an industry association advocating and educating members, but also there's an issuance of this thing that we used to call, I always laugh at my kids, we used to call this Andy Crest, because I don't even know how that name came to be.
Oh, yes, I remember that. I think when I was growing up, there was something about 666 that is coming up in future.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
So when I joined the organization, having had already over 15 years in the sector, being with government, and I was like, this is it's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So a literal scan, because my father was a merchandiser. We had stacks and stacks of those gun machines where
yes, I see those.
a
Yes.
price and so when I got here, I was like, oh, things have moved. So now this barcode encapsulates the information that you just, with a quick scan, you get the information of the product, you get the price, and it was quite an amazing thing to find out. So through the years in the development, because GS1 South Africa is part of a global organization, which is GS1 in a global sense. They exist in over 100 countries. We've got member organizations in each country, which issue barcodes for that country. So that's where we are now. We are formally known now as GS1 South Africa, but the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa's element from an advocacy and association perspective still exists. And this is the pocket or where we do most of the implementables outside of the standards from a GS1 perspective.
I see.
CGCSA Foundation, because we have to be in touch with the community.
All right.
Be it the CGCSA PRO and the rest of the other support that we offer to the members.
That's amazing. So everything is just coming together, interestingly.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I remember growing up, there was this thing about the barcode that, towards the end of times, of which we're still waiting for it to ever be, that you'll have a code in your forehead in which, and then people, when they were looking at the barcodes on the products, but the barcode, the role it plays, I think we were looking at one of the products just now, the role it plays in terms of identifying the product, who manufactures it, etc., it's a key aspect of it. So if we look at that element, so the product is designed, it's manufactured and sent, but is it only just that component? What if something goes wrong with that particular product? Do you guys play any role in that?
I think the first thing that each and every one of us needs to do, I mean, even if you do marketing, you start with awareness and education. That is the utmost critical point of departure. Because you need to be educated. You know, when they say ignorance of the law does not exonerate you from, you know, the ramifications that would come.
Yes.
So first and foremost, what we do as an organization is to educate.
Okay.
Each
okay.
and every time either a legislation comes to the fore from
Yes.
the regulators, we have to make sure that we unpack it with the members to say,
Okay,
do you
okay.
understand this? What is the impact that could come?
Yes.
In terms of you complying to this? Has the innovation moved ahead in terms
Yeah.
of the sector? So then that's when we send comments to the sector as a collective.
Yes.
Sometimes there's divergent views, obviously, because
course.
we are not all in the same space.
Yeah.
And we present all of those to government to say,
Yeah.
this is what the sector views this. Part of them are saying this, part of them are saying this.
Yes.
And we allow them to
Okay.
make the decision because they are the decision makers.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as you've heard at the summit, our co-chair, Gareth Ackerman, said, we need to speak on this because
Yeah.
if you do not speak on them, they can come and impact you.
Of
let's,
course.
Let's say, for instance, there's a law that gets to be put in place. Everyone needs to have a basin in a facility for
Yeah.
hand wash. That there's a cost attached to every little change that
Every
we do
decision
in
that
a
you-
facility. So that's the first and foremost thing that we do, education, so
Yes.
that people get to understand.
Yeah.
And also on the standards, these are private standards from a barcoding perspective.
Okay.
Just the same as we have on food safety.
Yes.
We have private standards that we need to comply with.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's the understanding that needs to be at the baseline because you can't just push things forward to people.
Yeah.
And that's what we always make a call to government to say, go out to
Yes,
the people,
yes,
educate
yes.
them. They need to understand.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people are like, oh, should we have done that? We didn't know about it.
Yeah,
But then the law is the law. If it
Of
catches
course,
you,
yes.
it catches you.
Yeah.
So those are just the amazing things that regulation sometimes is enabling, sometimes is crippling.
Yes.
So private standards also come in because sometimes regulations take time to adapt
Yes.
and innovate. And the barcode is one of the amazing
Wow, it's absolutely
inventions
amazing.
that came to be.
Yeah, so you aggregate input from all the members and then you speak with one voice to the government. So you can influence regulations, you can influence policy from what you understand from your members and the industry.
Exactly. And always when the word influence is used,
Yeah.
you know, they're like, oh, you're lobbyist, you're influencing. I was a regulator before, I wrote
Okay.
regulations before.
Yeah.
There is no way that you can say, this is the it, and the regulator does not apply the
Yes,
mind.
yeah.
As the regulator, we give them that grace to say
Yeah.
they will ensure that what is right. That's why they are compelled to do a socioeconomic assessment
Yeah.
for each and every piece of legislation that they put in place.
Yeah,
So every time when the word gets to be pushed out, there's a big sector, big food
Yes,
is influencing.
influencer.
It has to work for us. This legislation is not made to be a punitive thing.
Yes.
It needs to work. It needs to enable.
Yeah.
So if you don't get if you get comments from the sector,
Yeah.
as a regulator, you need to be very proud
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
says your stakeholders are engaged
Yeah.
and they are telling me what will work for them.
Yeah.
Then as a regulator, you need to go and apply your mind and
Yeah.
say, for what we intend in the protection of the consumer, in the protection of the sector,
Yes.
and everyone concerned, including the partners
Yes.
that we trade with,
Yeah.
what is the right thing to do?
Yes.
So I've never liked saying you are influencing. we making inputs, we shaping the
Yes, yes,
legislation.
yes, yeah.
They in the normal sense, yes, they do call that it is your
Yeah.
influencing, but it comes with negative connotations.
I know,
and this
know,
is why
I know.
people shy away from
Yes.
making those comments, but they're available.
No, definitely. So as you're saying, the regulator should be appreciating the input from the industry because your industry is huge, So, and then there's another aspect now. If you look at your role that you are playing in the organization, and it's two major roles from what I understand. And the first one that I'd like us to look at is on the food safety, which touches all of us. you know, if you can just maybe unpack the food safety aspect of your role within the organization.
As we always say, if it is not safe, it is not food. So, in the context of South Africa, we've got huge hunger crisis, and we've got food insecurity. So, if we do not take great care in ensuring that what we put on the table, and always I like bringing it to not in the bigger scheme of things in a factory, because most people have not even entered a factory.
Yes.
Baseline in your kitchen. Would you ever prepare? You come from an hygienic place, either from your ladies' room in the house,
Yes.
and immediately you start chopping onions or a salad that you're gonna prepare for your family. Basic principles are the best in terms of food safety. That simple hand washing,
Yes. Yes.
thorough hand washing, making sure that your utensils are clean, making sure that you cook to, a certain temperature to ensure that you manage the food safety risks. Ensuring that, you don't cross-contaminate as you're preparing. You can
Yes.
have your salad there
Yeah.
with your meat in the bowl and the knife that you use to cut the chicken.
Yes.
You suddenly move it to a salad that is not going to be cooked.
Yeah.
Just as basic as
My
that.
goodness, that's it sounds basic, but you need to be aware of all of these things,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Refrigeration.
Yeah.
How many hours should I put my food out on the stove? Everyone gets to dish or whichever.
Yeah.
Like in my household, I cook, I leave things there, people dish, and then later on, I have loads and loads of, we call it skaftina in South
Yes,
Africa.
yes, yeah.
I've got loads and loads of containers.
Yeah.
Once that is done, everyone has dished, transfer to the containers. That's
Yes.
the whole chain.
Yeah.
You're now moving it to a safe place in the refrigerator.
Okay. So immediately on the same night.
Exactly. There's rules and, and that's the basic principles
Yeah,
of food
yeah,
safety.
yeah, yeah.
You're now moving it to either, am I going to consume it in this
Yeah.
week? Tomorrow, leftovers, take them
Yeah.
to work, and that touches on food waste.
Yes.
And then you can put them in the refrigerator.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to consume it this week. Okay, let's put it in the freezer.
Okay.
We will defrost it later on.
Okay.
In
Jeepers, it goes through levels from the
Exactly.
refrigerator and then it goes into the
It
refrigerator.
depends on what you intend to be using it and when.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
people take it to a level of even marking to say, I've put this in the refrigerator on this date.
Oh my goodness.
If you come to my house, people get shocked. I have notes on each and every area. Like, there's no hand washing here because this is a preparation area. Everything must be put in the fridge in a container. I call people out to say, your food is in a plate in the refrigerator.
Oh,
Please
my.
come and put it back.
You're too organized.
I'm that extreme,
Yeah.
but I think it has helped my kids as well. They say,
Yeah.
we like you, Mommy, for being
Yeah.
that organized, because we know where things need to be, and we know when we need to use them.
Yes.
And how to use them.
And then the time frame.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
those are the principles. I never like talking about in a factory, we need
Yes.
to check this, we need to do hand swabs, because that's high level scientific,
Yes.
but let's bring it to the baseline in your household. It starts
Then it's more
waste
understandable.
management, food waste, food safety. Bring your mind to what would I do in my household, and then that needs to be happening in the workplace.
Yes.
And this is why we call it, food safety culture. If people in the factory do not have that culture and principle that this is my space, I need to
Yes.
ensure that
Yes.
I come back, I do the hand washing, I do the boots washing.
Yes.
If they say separate raw materials,
Yeah.
I need to follow that.
Yes,
It's
and the
same.
PPE they wear, and
wear,
et cetera, et cetera.
How many times does it get washed? Do I need to use gloves here? I can use gloves here.
Yes.
And that's as basic as it gets.
Yeah. So it touches our lives. The interesting part is, we do work in communities, and we touched on the food security. We work with organization in the food security space where they receive products, that maybe have not been sold and then to be used by communities. So that expiry date, especially if you find it's mostly in many products as well as, canned food. Mm-hmm. And I came across some of the products, canned food in particular, but the branding was removed. So it's very difficult to see the expiry on it. Mm-hmm. And then when I just looked at this product, I could not see the BB because that's the best before date. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, I don't know if you maybe highlight and just guide a viewer here, that best before date, how useful it is and how we should look at it. And where can we find it in the product?
In the product, and you raise a very important point. In the transaction that happened, there was removal of the label. That should not be happening because now you are taking away the information that the user needs to be referring to. And one most critical thing is that you cannot tamper, and removing a label to me is you're tampering with that information and the date marking and the traceability of the product, because you need to keep the label as it is and the product as it is. Most food products, especially long shelf life products, would carry a best before date.
Yes.
I always make an example of win a hamper, enter competition, win a hamper. There's oats in the pack. It's a dry product, just like maize meal or rice or so. They would carry a best before maybe of a year or 2 years. Canned products of 2 years.
Okay.
The best before simply says, I am best before this date.
Yeah.
After that date, my quality could have gone down.
Okay.
But I may not cause you harm.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because the processes that unfold in making that particular product, the manufacturer would have assured themselves, done shelf life testing to say it can be on the shelf for this long.
Okay.
I think where it gets confusing is that how long is a piece of string in keeping that product past
that date
before date.
Yes.
So those are conversations that are still unfolding.
Okay.
There's a new legislation in draft which is trying to get to that.
Yeah.
And I think as a sector, this has been made as a call to say you need to guide us. How long is a piece of string when it comes to a best before?
Yeah.
But I could say like canned products. You have a wedding, you buy big canned product. That processing of canned product, as long as the can is not bulging.
Yes.
And that's what, and I like
it's to say, in its original form, the way it's
There's no bulging, there's no leaking.
Yeah.
It is still intact and you have kept it in a safe space. 5 years it can take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because there's no contamination, there's no air going in.
It is hermetically sealed. It is what it is. But when you open it, and this has happened before, and you might find that the quality is not, because it's been sitting there, the quality might have gone down. It is not as like we've had canned fruit, and it wasn't as crunchy as if, you would open
when it was before the
before.
PP.
So the best before is just I am best before. I'm at my ultimate premium quality before this date.
Okay.
After this, you need to look.
Yes.
You need to touch. You need to smell. You need to check if there are any telltale signs that there could be some cross-contamination into the pack.
Okay.
And then gladly consume that. I'm the shopper, the best shopper at the best before. I wish for retailers one day to have shelves, because in Europe they do have a space where they say this is the best before. And that's where I shop Sundays afternoon. That's me and that's where I shop.
So you get good pricing, good discounted products,
reduced, and then that's where I shop.
Okay.
And in most cases on products you'd find expiry is we reserve it mostly for highly perishable products.
Okay.
Like a salmon that is just packed in a freshly packed.
Yeah.
You know, we're saying these are not gonna take long in
Yeah.
the shelf life, and the food safety risk is high.
Yeah.
Then that's when you attach, you know, the use by and
Use by.
expiry are the same.
Okay.
They carry
Okay.
the same meaning, and then best before is and
Yes.
sell by, we're not even gonna go there.
Yeah.
It's just a retail day to help them manage
Their products.
when do we have to sell this, so that, you know, we're not tied towards the best
Yes.
before date.
Yeah.
And in the future, that's where the joys of the new invention of the QR code from a banking perspective, we can have that inserted into the QR code, and the retailer sees that in their system.
That's amazing.
And then it alleviates this confusion that the consumers are having.
Yeah,
And they can manage their efficiencies internally without further, confusing the consumer.
That's amazing. There's still quite a lot of work
Yeah.
for the consumer in this space and the industry. So then I'd like to move us to the sustainability aspect, you know, of your role. If you can just unpack and just share with us.
Oh, well, I always say sustainability found me. I think the organization I work for, they always say let passion lead. Our CEO, Zintle Chiko, would always say, guys, Matlou has 7 beans in her house.
You have never heard of 7.
And that's how the story of me getting into the sustainability space came to be. We were doing work on the food waste perspective, and packaging came because when you deal with food waste, how does packaging, you know, influence, you know, the waste from a food perspective?
Yeah.
And it became a very interesting thing. I've always been a cleanaholic by nature.
Okay.
And as we have heard, I'm very highly organized.
Yeah.
So when this came and I got to learn, this is what you need to do, and this is what recycling really means. We need to be separating at source, and that's where the story of the 6 beans came to be. And
I'm just wondering if you haven't run out of colors, if your bins have different colors for different.
The system keeps changing. I think the majority of the users in the household.
Okay.
We now have bigger bins. And we've got every month. I mean, sometimes people will say we don't have resources, we don't have space. Use what works for you.
Yeah.
We started with the smaller bins, but then they would get filled quite quickly.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And as people get to understand in the household, then I moved to, they're just 100 rands. So 1 month I buy 1 bin, and it is there. I'm gonna have to mark them because now it's a new system.
Yeah.
And my son was like, "Mom, do you realize that you need to start marking these bins because I can't tell which is which?"
So they're not in different colors.
Yeah,
they have to label each bin.
I have to label them because it's a new. I
Yes.
used to have the ones that are branded in the colors.
Yes.
And it's just the education again. For someone, before you throw something, it needs to clock, and the culture needs to be created. Be it in the household.
Yes, that's where it starts.
That's where it starts.
Correct.
Then that gets taken to the school.
Yes.
To say, school, we don't see bins at home. We are separating.
What is
Why
going
are we
on?
not separating
Correct.
in the school? And then it filters into our own organizations.
Yes.
We need to be separating our waste because it is the good quality that you get out.
Yeah.
I was seeing one article, some people were named the Beanfluencers in the UK.
Oh.
And I like what they said in their article, and I can bear testament to that. They're saying, with our bin system and you know, separation in our household, our municipal bin only goes out after 12, it needs to go out every 12 weeks.
Wow. So they don't have to regularly, like we have in South Africa, every week.
A good separator source doesn't need municipality to be coming and getting there, because you protect your waste, because you have separated that waste. It's looking beautiful. You will take it to the right place.
Of course. So I'm just imagining. So you could have at a household level 0 to landfill.
Yeah.
So the food waste you can
compost.
use, you compost, and then the other dry waste you find things, eventually where to send
take.
to.
Yeah, but my
Amazing.
aluminum cans, I do get my money back.
Yeah.
But plastic paper and other packaging bottles, our closest mall has got a bin where you can go and drop off.
But that's the beauty of this whole thing is that there is an economy of waste. You can make money out of that, of the waste, because they were doing it correctly. So you can convert that into money.
Into money.
That's what we need in the economy of
Yeah.
South Africa, as an example.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as we all know, separation at source is what is gonna get us. Also, because I become very jealous when I take out my municipal bin and everything gets squashed into.
Oh yeah.
That
yes.
really gets to me.
Yes.
There was one
Yeah.
friend that asked, why are we all now separating and taking our waste when someone was making money out of this?
Yes.
And I had to take them to the bottom to say, look at the
Yeah.
truck that collects your waste.
Yeah. It has everything in.
If you feel you need to give your waste to a waste reclaimer, good and well. Do
Yeah.
that, support them, because you know the day they're going to come.
Yes.
Prepare the waste for you, give them good material. If you don't want to take it to a buyback center because you feel you're taking, money away from the waste reclaimers that have always been doing it,
Yes.
do that.
Yeah.
But if you also need to create your own income from your waste,
Yeah.
then do that. And,
Of
and
course,
she finally
of
got
course,
it.
of course.
She finally got, because she was very
Yeah.
agitated to say, why is everyone now
Yeah.
taking their waste to the buyback centers?
Yeah.
So it's that education that we need to impart. We can
Absolutely.
work with, the waste reclaimers that we know are coming by our areas.
Yeah.
Or you can take them to a buyback center closest to you.
If you can.
Or the different malls have got drop-in bins
Yes,
where you can go and
yes.
take. It's about good quality material.
No, absolutely. The one of the challenges, because we do also separation of waste for recycling at the Renview Shopping Center, is that what worries me is that mixed plastic. We take that, we sort, but you find mixed plastic all over, on the streets and open spaces, when in fact that material can be recycled.
Yeah.
I just want us to touch on the PRO component just once again. So on the PRO side, so within the consumer goods, so you find other PROs. I just wanted to understand the distinct aspect of the PRO for CGSA in comparison with the others.
They are all the same because it's a regulated space. We all have similar requirements, but you choose the materials that you commit to work on as a PRO.
Yes.
In our case, we said we need to be a one-stop shop,
Okay.
so that all the materials that in the main our members are involved in: paper, packaging, electronics, and lighting. So we
Okay.
have registered for those three.
I see.
Some PROs would choose that they focus on electronics.
Oh,
And so you
I
can
understand.
choose, yes.
Okay,
You can choose the
okay.
material that you want to focus on.
Yes.
And because looking at when you are a person, I've got material, if I'm going to a certain buyback center of a certain PRO and
Yes.
they don't take electronic waste,
Then what?
I cannot go back with that. I need a place to,
Yes, yes.
So those are the experiences that we had
Okay.
as we were, being active in this, doing cleanups even before we were a PRO.
Yes,
So we thought
yes.
let's be an all-encompassing, so that even the partners that we work with in the future,
Yes.
they can have that element of being a one-stop shop. I don't need to go
Yes.
back with my waste because you are not taking it.
Yes.
So it was from that context, yeah.
That's quite interesting, and because some of the buyback centers, there's certain material they don't take,
Yeah.
because they specialize in X, type of material. So, but the scope is really,
It's
really huge. So there's enough for everybody.
yeah.
No, wonderful. Matlou, it's tradition in this show where we engage the viewer on the Q&A.
Okay.
Thank you very much for watching this episode. Should you wish to get involved or support the work that we do, the details are on the description in the screen below. In this episode, we prepared one question for you, a very simple question. And as always, there's 4 possible answers for you. The question goes as follows. What if every plastic bottle you threw away could power a cleaner future for Johannesburg? Let me repeat the question. What if every plastic bottle you threw away could power a cleaner future for Johannesburg? Option A, I throw it away to create jobs for people. Option B, my own effort will not power a cleaner future for Johannesburg. Option C, it can when you choose to recycle. Option D, it is the responsibility of the municipality to provide a cleaner future for Johannesburg. We look forward to your comments in the comment section. Matlou, getting back to our discussion. So the interesting part, if we look at now waste management from a retailer's perspective. So, and I think at the summit it highlighted this very clear for me. So we have the retail industry, which is formal, and we also have a retail industry, which is informal. So let's just maybe just unpack it, just looking at the formal retail sector in terms of their waste management. What are your views? What have you witnessed, or what kind of solutions are you guys working with the industry?
Well, I think they've been doing this for the longest of time, and we are now scaling because in the main, solid waste was the thing that they were working on. And when the department came, the DTIC came and said, there's a lot of food waste that's happening. We need to zone in on that. So now that even elevates the aspect of separation.
Indeed.
To say, I need to know which one is surplus food that I could not sell, but it's still good for consumption.
Yes.
Which then I say I segregate this for donation.
Okay.
If I could not sell it. And which one am I now condemning? It needs to go to waste. So it is an enhanced and a high level of separation and management of waste in its entirety.
Yes.
So this is where we're saying, technology like your QR code could help them facilitate that.
Yeah.
Because you need to, track, because recording is very critical in terms of where has this gone.
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, if you're running a massive operation with 700 stores in
Yes.
the country, each and every store needs to be recording in a similar way in
what is going on with each product.
With each product.
Yes, that's complicated.
So this is where then, leveraging off the standards, leveraging off, the identifiers that we have. This is why from the cracks, identification of each single item is very critical, because you need to track it along the journey to say how much is lending in the waste and how much is lending in donation, so that then tells you a story. By you knowing where things are going, you can say, maybe South Africans are not liking this particular product.
Because it stays long until I need to find.
Continue to find and
yes,
yeah. So then what do I do?
So it's
then
an important information for the retailer.
Makes business sense.
Yeah.
Perfect business sense. It gives you so much insights. And I think it came at the summit to say retailers are now data hubs.
Of course. Yeah. So what you are talking about is
exactly
important data, because I'm just imagining that with what you do with the product at the end. So it takes 2 different ways. It could go excess products. So it can go via donations or you condemn it.
Yeah.
So you can actually reconcile back from the package that you've had and how much you've sold, and then the last 2 routes, what happened to it.
Yes, and on top of that, you still need to declare in terms of your EPR, how much plastic, how much paper, how much, so all of that segmentation. If you think of it, you really need top technology and identification to ensure that you can do it effectively. And I think they are doing amazing work.
Yes.
They have come to the party. They are working with us. And it's every time we talk about this, as you say, they would say it's things that big business can do, and why are we being so cumbersome to the informal? Informal is also business. They need
Yes.
to thrive.
Yes.
So
yeah.
if you're not managing, like I always bring things down, and one of my colleagues who's working from a standards perspective would always say, Matlou, it takes just a notebook at a small scale
Yeah.
to know what came in and what went out.
Yes.
As simple as that. We're
Yeah.
not saying put, scanners and, all of these fancy things. Note taking.
Yes.
I like
Manual
that.
reconciliation.
Manual
It's just manual reconciliation.
How
yes.
are our mamas doing it
Yes.
in Stockfella
Yes.
and taking notes of what money came in and what money is going?
It's exactly
As
the same
simple
thing.
as
Yes,
that.
yeah.
And it helps your business grow because you need to know the storyline of each product. You need to know the
Yeah.
storyline of what is coming in and what's going out.
So I think the retailers, from what I see from as a consumer also, you see that data. They've gone to even a higher level of data. So some retailers, they have loyalty cards. It does, so maybe you can get discounts out of it, but that card is linked to your name with your contacts and everything, so they can see your behavior and what purchases you are making, etc. And they also tailor-made communication based on your behavior. So it's a very interesting space where the retail industry is. And there's a friend of mine that has a spaza shop. We're going into the informal now. And I was saying to him, what about you also just get some form of loyalty? It could be a manual process as well. In your neighborhood, customer Bongi comes in and she buys bread, maybe, and milk. The other one buys meat and canned food. So you can start looking at loyalty and things that you can do for them.
Yeah.
Then it creates loyalty and good for business, for informal sector as well. So on the informal sector now, in terms of sustainability and waste management, how has the experience been, or is there any involvement from your organization?
We haven't. We've just gotten to allocate service providers some funds, and we will be working with them because we can't be on the ground to implement. And one was just calling yesterday to say, will you be supporting us in terms of spotting where we need to be collecting this waste? And I put it back to them to say, you are in this space. There's a whole lot of opportunities. To your point, organizing local where you operate, the spaza shops or the facilities that are in the space, and you speak to them to say, can we have a common place or a common day when we will be coming to collect waste free of charge, because we've already been funded by PRO.
Yes.
It's all about organizing on the ground to say, we're going to give you maybe 2 bins so that you separate your waste and source.
Wonderful.
And then we are going to come and collect.
Wow.
So it's all about the community on the ground. What are we doing with them?
Yes.
With the resources that we have so that we can, waste is everywhere.
So this is quite interesting. I like that perspective and the thinking around that, because you are bringing together economies of scale in the community and to do something similar what formal business is doing. So they happen to have formal structures, informal centers or property, etc. So they are able to then collect the waste and separate it. So nothing stops the informal sector to be in the same space, but in a different way.
Correct.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then, so these are the informal retailers that have some structures. So what about those you find at taxi rank, open spaces? There's some of them are called street traders.
Oh, and it was amazing, and thanks to you for that experience at the Randbeck taxi rank. And as I was talking to Mama that was just selling on the side of the road, and I say, Mama, wouldn't you just be every day in the morning just extend your sweeping.
I saw you bought the broom there. Yes,
I
for
had
her.
to go and pick up. That was so difficult, and it was a lot of learnings from there.
Yeah.
I think when we finally adopt, and Gareth always reminded us of the saying that Mother Teresa said, if everyone sweeps
Yes.
just next to the, and we do that
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
rural areas every morning. You
Yeah.
see people sweeping their yards and
Yes,
so
yeah.
but it's that culture that we need to get to.
Yeah.
Even in our workplaces where I am working, the space, can I just keep
Correct.
the area that I'm operating from clean?
Yes.
And it's small steps with many people doing the
same
bit
thing.
that they can do, that it
It makes
becomes-
huge-
makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But I think South Africans are getting there, and I liked one element at the Randburg. We would love to work with them at some point.
Yeah.
Where they had tires
Yeah.
as beans.
Yes, yes.
It's
Yeah.
simple things that
Yeah.
you employ to make sure that at least you contain the waste.
Yes, yes.
As you build up in the situation. It's about using anything really
Absolutely.
at this point. Yeah.
Yes, no, thanks also for reminding me of the taxi rank. It's amazing. I think by the time when your team came through and did a cleanup with us, if you visit now, the rank is immaculate, it's clean.
Beautiful.
Because of the ongoing maintenance and the cleanup. So the taxi rank, where the taxis park, and where the commuters take the taxis, is looking much better.
Yeah.
So that taxi rank is now at a stage where it's ready for the next step. Infrastructure, you're talking about, they use the tires for bins because it's another challenge, where you're going to put your waste at. So then that brings us to another topic around the human behavior. So now, the interesting part, so a consumer buys from a formal retailer, right, or an informal retailer, or you buy a pie, for example. Then you are hungry, or if you are outside of a shopping center, or wherever you bought the pie, start eating the pie, eat. And then the next thing, you find the packaging for the pie and everything that goes with it lying on the floor or on the ground. So that human behavior, so I don't know, from our perspective, we see there's still a long way to go. So I don't know, from your organization, what is it that you have seen, or what have you maybe looked at as recommendations to deal with, human behavior and the things that we do to damage the environment?
And it's about and like spaces like what you've created now. We shouldn't stop talking about it. And we need more and more people talking about this. And I was watching this one movie. They have a very nice scene where this the king comes and gives the guy a wipe, and the guy takes the wipe, and this effect of what we have in South Africa. You're driving in your car, you use the wipe, or you have a sweet, and you do this.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
This bad culture of out of the window, not in my space.
Yes.
We need, some level of insights to tap into the mind of what gets South Africans or any other human being to do this, not in my space and outside, but then what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And in the scene, the king says to the guy, don't you love you? I always told you to take care of your environment and your community, because it goes to the love of self and the love of community.
Of course.
And we must commend communities that are saying, local councillor, you're gonna come and help us deal with this waste. Because they cannot be banning the waste like we have seen in most of the rural areas. They have stopped doing that because of the education that kept coming to them. So it's about voicing out where we need help. It needs to be given to the right people to come and help. But I think more talking, and it's part of the requirements of the EPR regulations, that all the PROs need to we need to raise awareness.
Yes, the
it's
education.
part of the requirements that we have to fulfill.
Yes.
So as we grow in the space as well, we have started in the food waste area. We've got a campaign. We are assessing the insights from a South African perspective.
Yeah.
And comfort enough that South Africans value their food.
Uh-huh.
And hopefully in the future we will value our waste.
We're getting there. We are getting there. I think it's exciting times for South Africa that even the waste pickers, everybody involved in the waste management space, where we see the value.
Yeah.
Over and above looking after the environment, but there's also economic benefits of waste. You know, Matlou, the interesting part is that we did a short project with the CGCSA in Diepsloot. So our team, as they were cleaning up, so they were engaging with the taxi operators, the street traders. So as they were cleaning, people could see that, oh, it's getting cleaner and cleaner. So our team then started to engage with the street traders and then started to give them the plastic bags to say, hey, for your waste, you just put your waste here. And then the conversation, as the days progressed and the community saw the difference, even the taxi owners were saying, wow, this is quite nice and clean. So, but we need to move into the next level. We need bins. You know, so the interesting part is that the same conversation now we have at the Randburg taxi rank. It's cleaner now. So now the question, do they have the bins in Diepsloot? So we're starting to see now the question of infrastructure to assist us as consumers to say, I have this, I've just had a pie, where do I throw it? Do I keep it with me until I get home, or there's a bin around me?
As we are busy building up on the infrastructure side as a whole collective in the country, keep it with you until you can throw it in a safe place. I think we need to adopt the culture to say, let's keep waste in the right place.
Yes.
Take it to the nearest right place. Throwing it just like that should not be an option.
Yes.
And in most cases where there's a tunda station, as we say, the street just after, you see people have the tendency of just throwing things out of the taxi.
Yeah.
And I think there was a campaign at some point of having bins in the taxi themselves.
I remember that conversation.
Because really, in any highway or any road where people had stopped and bought food, the next strip line, it's just filth everywhere.
Yes.
So that's the culture possibly, and it's about partnerships that we get to create, either with the taxi associations to say, what can we do in this space so that we have those bins available for the consumer.
Yes.
Because indeed you can be educated, but then do I carry this thing? I carry my waste up until I can throw it in the right space. But I think it's, as you say, behavior change that everyone needs to get to as a consumer, to say, I'm not going to throw this. I have a small bin in my car. Just sit in there. The one that the cup that I use for drinking, the plastic one, I've dedicated one as my bin. When I get home, I discard it into the bin. So nothing gets thrown out of my car. Nothing gets thrown from my bag. I use it out.
So it always goes into the right space, right place, and then it goes into the right disposal.
So that's the culture that each and everyone just needs to be, graceful enough to say, let me take my waste to the right place.
I think that's an amazing campaign that we could have. And from what we are learning is that nobody wants to live or trade or work in a filthy space. So the more they see, the more engagements come through, and the more innovation and involvement of the stakeholders, So the last segment that I'd like us to talk about is the young people. Our young people, from primary school, all the way to high school, to university. How would you encourage young people to instill the right behavior when it comes to waste management.
And those are the mighty champions, and I think schools really play an important role. If you have a child at school, they come back and they say, no, teacher said, that's the word. That's what they will follow, and it goes back again to awareness, to education. So I love the element that when we play, and we already have a campaign that we'll be doing in the Western Cape with one of our partners, to say we're going into the schools, we teach them, they educate, and we set up infrastructure.
Yeah.
And it needs to start there, because then they can take it home. And then that's the culture that they grow up with. And one day I went to one school, and that's where I found, the school element to be very, very important. I was looking for space for my son.
Yeah.
And, if you're in the space and you're cognizant of what needs to happen, you even check the bins of a facility that you're going to.
Of course, yeah, or you would,
And when you see those kids, and I always say there's one thing that is very critical. End of the year, when the kids, the books are done, they're not using them. Where do those books go?
Where do they go?
The tonnages. I weighed my son's school bag at the end of the day, that was 8 kgs of paper.
My goodness. At the end of the year.
At the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now, we had to ensure that we peel the plastic cover out so that we separate the plastic from the books for the actual paper. And we took it to the right place.
Yes.
And just imagine if all the school said, bring back your books back to the school, and there's a collector that's going to come and get the paper back.
It's fundraising for the school as well. So it's educational, they save the environment, and also it's a fundraising aspect. We've worked with a few schools on that, because, schools also need to, some of them, I don't know, they need some fundraising aspects while teaching, young people about the right behaviors around waste management. It's interesting because there's an organization that just approached us about educating. I think they deal with about kids to between 7 and 12. They want us to get involved in educating them about separating of waste for recycling and that kind of thing. So that segment of our community is very important.
It's very important, very important.
No, indeed. Matlou, thank you very much for your time, for being on the show. It's been quite informative. From our perspective, we'd like to say thank you very much for being with us as a token of appreciation from Clean City SA. This is the product for your documents that you can use.
Thank you. And do you know how many bottles were used to create this?
That's the answer I don't have. I can see 10 bottles there.
Yeah, possibly, because I've seen one pouch for stationery for kids. That was made from one bottle. So one bottle, one school child gets to have a stationery pack to take to school.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
That's one quite amazing story for people to realize that if you put the packaging in the right place, it can get back to us for reuse. So that's a good story to tell. Thank you so much.
No, it's a pleasure. No, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching this episode. Should you wish to support or get involved in the work that we do, the details are on the description on the screen below. Until next time, thank you.